High level paper 2, question 11. Let's go to a graph page and we're going to type in a multiplied by x multiplied by cos of x. So we'll press trig twice to get the cos function and then x and then press enter. Now obviously nothing's turned up there because a hasn't yet been defined, but if we go to a calculator page, add a calculator, make sure we're in radian mode, which we're not here, so we're going to document settings, we're going to change that to radians and make that a default. We can then go ahead and type in the definite integral of our function. So what we want to try and do here is go from 0 to pi by 2. Pi divided by 2. And the reason I typed in the function is I can just pull up f1 of x there, dx, and this should equal 1 if I move out of this template, if we have indeed a valid value for a. So when I press enter, it says variable not defined. It gives us all the errors there. So if I do menu, algebra, numerical solve, that expression for a, it comes back with 1.75. Now we need to satisfy ourselves that 2 divided by pi by 2 is the same as the value. So 2 divided by pi subtract 2, it is indeed the same value. So we've satisfied ourselves that this value for a, they've told us, is valid. So a defined as being equal to that value there is something we can now move forwards with. Now for 11 part B, they're asking us for a definite integral between 0 and pi by 4 of that same function. So I can go right back up to the very beginning, just go back in, strip off the equals y and minus 1, change the pi by 2 to pi by 4, and I get the answer which we're seeking, which the three significant figures would be 0.460. Of course you could do it more accurately by algebraic techniques. Now because I've got value for a is now defined, if I go back to my graph I can now start seeing the graph there because it now exists because we have a value for a. I want to make sure that my graphing angle is also in radians, so I'm just going to do menu, settings, and my graphing angle is in radians there, and we'll make that to be a default and click OK. And that's what this function looks like, but we're only interested in the section between 0 and pi by 2. So I'm just going to go menu, window zoom, window settings, and make the 0, and then pi divided by 2. So pi divided by 2, that's the bit we're interested in. If I grab hold of the y-axis, holding down the shift key, I can just rescale the y-axis, without affecting the x-axis. And I'm looking to find out where the mode is, and the mode will be at its maximum point there. So it'll be menu, analyze graph, maximum, go to the left, go to the right, and I've got a maximum at around about 0.86. I can increase that by going over the value and pressing the addition key, the plus key, and I can see more decimal places. To get the median, I'm looking to find out when the integral is, when the area is 0.5. I can go back to my calculator page, I can go back up to my nsolve statement, and this time I'm wanting to solve for a parameter which I'm going to call med, or even just m for median, and I want this to be equal to 0.5 because half of it will be low, and I change that m to an a. I go ahead and solve that and it gives you 0.826. And moving on to do 11 part D, it's just a case of doing one calculation divided by another. So what I can do is I can put a fraction template in. The numerator of this template would be from 0 to pi by 8. So I'll just change that to an 8. And if I just keep going back up to highlight that, press Ctrl C to copy it to the clipboard, then Ctrl V to paste it back in. I think that's all good as it is to go. Yes, it is. When we press enter, we get a value of 0.283 to three significant figures. And the question is done.